Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to another Minecraft Java video. Today we're going to be taking a look at Lunar Client, and I am going to be doing a FPS comparison of a Lunar Client versus OptiFine, and we're going to see which one of these two versions are going to give us the most FPS in the game. I have read that Lunar Client does boost your FPS, and when I did use Lunar Client, I did notice that it comes bundled with OptiFine. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of FPS we can get with Lunar Client and what kind of FPS we can get with the regular version of OptiFine. So I have gone ahead and installed both Lunar Client and OptiFine for Minecraft Java Edition version 1.17.1. And as you guys can see, I am currently running Lunar Client at the moment. You can see on the top left of my screen there, it does say Lunar Client. And then when I go into the options, it does say Lunar Client at the bottom right there. So I'm going to do a FPS check on Lunar Client first of all, and then I'm going to do an FPS check with OptiFine to see which one gives us the most FPS and is Lunar Client worth using over OptiFine. Alright, so as you guys can see, I am in a regular world and I'm just standing around and I'm getting close to 1000 FPS. When I do move around, it does actually dip to around 700 FPS, but it does go back up to 1000 FPS if I just stand still like so. So as you guys can see, I'm getting about 930 FPS on the top left there of my screen. If I go to different areas, obviously the FPS is going to change and fluctuate, but overall I would say I'm getting on average 900 to 1000 FPS with the Lunar Client. I'm now going to show you guys the settings which I'm using, so let me just get rid of the FPS counter there. Let me go into options, video settings, and as you guys can see, this is the regular OptiFine screen, and what I've done is I've actually turned everything to the lowest possible. So I've gone into each of these settings and tried to reduce them to the lowest possible amount. So if we go to details, you can see that everything has been turned off there. I've turned off all of the animations. I've gone into quality and I've turned down everything to the lowest slider possible. And in the performance section, I have actually gone ahead and enabled some of the performance-based options here to try and give us that extra boost in FPS. If we go back into the main screen, this is the Lunar Client main home screen. If I go into the Lunar settings, click on mods and then go to settings and then click on the performance tab over here, I've actually gone ahead and enabled some of the settings which is going to give us more performance. So I have actually turned down a few of these settings as well in the hope that it is going to give me a nice FPS boost. And because of this, you guys were able to see I was getting close to 900 to 1000 FPS with using Lunar Client. And what I'll do now is I'll launch the default Minecraft game with just OptiFine installed, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put everything to the lowest possible setting, and then I'm going to see what kind of FPS I can get inside the game with just regular OptiFine. Alright, so I'm going to launch the Minecraft launcher, which is the default Minecraft launcher. I'm not using any of the special custom Minecraft launchers like CurseForge. This is the regular Minecraft launcher, which everyone is used to. I have gone ahead and installed the latest version of OptiFine, which is available as of today's date. So you guys can see it says OptiFine version 1.17.1, OptiFine HD, UH133. I'm also going to allocate 4 gigs of RAM to this installation because I did notice that Lunar Client was also using 4 gigs of RAM. So I'm going to go into my options here and change this to 4 gigs of RAM. So both are going to be on an equal setting. So now we can actually go ahead and launch the game with OptiFine. Alright, so the game has now loaded with just regular OptiFine, as you guys can see from the main menu here. If I go to options and click on video settings, we can see that this is the latest version of OptiFine that is installed, and it states at the bottom left here of the screen. And similar to what I did with Lunar Client, I have actually gone ahead and changed all of these settings to the lowest possible. So if I go to details, you guys can see that everything has been turned down to the lowest. If I go to animations, I have gone ahead and turned everything off. And if I go to performance, I have actually enabled all of the settings which I did enable with Lunar Client, and in quality, I have actually turned everything down to the lowest possible setting. So let's go back into that world that we were playing on Lunar Client, and now let's see what kind of FPS I can get with this regular OptiFine. Alright, so we are now in the game. Let's enable our FPS counter and let's see what kind of FPS we can actually get inside the game here. So I am just staring at that scene at the moment. So as you guys can see, I am getting actually lower FPS than I was before. I'm now getting 700 FPS there, as you guys can see on the top left there. Let's go back to the other side of the map here and just stare at that. So obviously it has increased slightly in FPS, but it's nowhere near the 1000 FPS that I was getting in Lunar Client. So I would say in terms of the FPS difference, approximately between 150 to 200 FPS is the difference between regular OptiFine and the Lunar Client. So I think that Lunar Client is helping out with giving us a higher FPS thanks to those extra settings that you guys did see in the Lunar Client settings. If you guys are using OptiFine to give yourself a performance boost, or you are on a low-end machine, then I would actually recommend that you guys give Lunar Client a go and see if you can actually get slightly more FPS with Lunar Client. And those settings which I showed you guys earlier in the Lunar Client settings, do make sure to turn all of those down and try and give yourselves as much of a performance boost as possible. So as you guys have noticed today, that I have been getting higher FPS with the Lunar Client compared to the regular OptiFine. So you guys can see that I'm just walking around here and moving, and I am getting lower FPS than I was getting in the Lunar Client. And this is the regular OptiFine game. Obviously, no comparison is ever going to be as fair as possible, but hopefully this comparison should show you that if you do use Lunar Client, you might be able to get slightly more FPS than you would just using the normal OptiFine game. If I was to use the regular vanilla game without using OptiFine and just launch the game without any mods, then I would get much more lower FPS than I am getting now. So if you guys have been using OptiFine for a long time for the FPS boost functions of OptiFine, then it might be worth just checking out Lunar Client, and I am going to leave a link in the description below for you guys to check it out. And obviously do let me know in the comment section below what kind of FPS did you guys get. Did you guys get any increases with using Lunar Client, or is it still the same? Or did you get a decrease in FPS when you used Lunar Client versus using OptiFine? If you did find this video useful, please do give us a like, and also please do subscribe to this channel to help support it, help it grow, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.